Sweet tea making in the making with Ethan Snipes. If you're wanting some really dank sweet tea, there's some certain steps you have to follow. So if you're wanting to make some really dank sweet tea, the first thing you have to do is you have to turn your stove on. My burner's on. I'm going to fill up this little pot with water. It doesn't matter if it's hot or cold. I like to put hot in just, because it'll be that much closer to boiling, I guess. Oh, gosh. I've only got 2 sweet tea bags left.
How many is the recommended amount?
You'd usually use about 3. So I'm going to put these in here. And that doesn't mean anything. I'll actually just put this on a little bit softer temperature so that it'll have more of the tea flavor. The next thing you want to do is you want to get some sugar. And you want to have, when you're making this kind of tea, it's best to divide it between 2 containers. So, got our 2 containers here. A whole cup and a third of sugar in each one. So with this one I have, it's a third of a cup. So 4 scoops will be. So we're waiting for our tea to boil. This is kind of personal, but so like I grew up on this tea, and like whenever we would go to like any of our relatives' houses, all their tea would be like subpar to our tea, and like we wouldn't want to drink it, but like our parents made us drink other people's tea, and like I don't know, I was being kind of rude, but like it wasn't good tea because like my uncles, they fucking made just like the bitterest tea in the whole wide world, and it's not sweet tea, but like they call it sweet tea. It's ridiculous. My dad's whole side of the family can't make tea very well, so it's a bummer. So like it's in drop D, so you can like have everything coming off the top string. It's really cool. So our water's getting real brown. It's not quite at a boil yet. Once it gets to a boil, that's when we take it off the stove, because that means that the water's seeped into the tea and kind of got all the tea flavor out of it and into the water around it, and that's what we're trying to get out. So the crisp tea flavor of Louisiana's quality Southern home iced tea that your grandmother used to make. This is just from the hamburgers we made last night. It got really smoky in here and set my fire alarm off. And then, other things. There's also another person that lives here, though, so you can't account all of this to one person. So, you know how I talked about how there were 3 bags, usually? You'd usually use 3 bags of tea. Well, I used 2. This time, I turned the heat down just a little bit so the boiling process would be slower. So, I think it's worked out. Oh, and you come over here. It's starting to boil just now. Barely, barely, barely. It's actually right at the point where we're going to take it off. We're going to take it over here and you're going to divide it up evenly between the 2 jugs. Then you're going to fill this thing with hot water right on top of the bags. See how all this water I just got out of the faucet, it's brown just like it would be if I had set these bags in there. It's because the bags are still wet. And they're still getting all their tea out of there. And then you'll do this a couple more times until each of the jugs are filled about halfway up. Well, they're at about a third right now, but we're going to go ahead and start filling them up. So you're going to just do hot water and you're going to start stirring. You're going to stir it thoroughly so all the sugar's dissolved in the hot tea. You can do the same thing to the other one. And you're going to want to let it sit for about 6 hours before you drink it, but once it gets cold, it'll get dark. And tea bags away. And this has been tea in the making.